Good morning, Flosstube. It's Lynette here, and I thought I would show you Goose, who is not really wanting to be up here. I don't know what he wants. He's been skirting around, but he's grown a lot since I first shown you, and since I had a little opportunity, he was wandering around down here. I thought I'd show you, but I think that's all we're going to get from Goose. He's gone. He's done. Anyway, oh, he's worn me out now. That's Goose. So, it's Lynette HexagonStitches here. Thank you for joining me in Brisbane. It's a beautiful day today. Even though June is technically winter here, it's more like autumn weather. It's beautiful. Sorry, the gooses are wandering around. We'll just have to see what mischief he gets into. Apologise for distractions. All right, I've got some whips, and I've got some magazine monthly challenge things and some other things as well. So let's just start with one of the whips was Purrfect Presents, which some of these things are left over from Spring Go from the magazine monthly challenge cross stitch group. So I got down to the bottom of that present. And my plan had been to go down here and get to that ginger pussy, but in the end I've gone a bit into there. So it's making a bit of progress. Purrfect Presents by Satsuma Street. It's a fun stitch. It's probably one of my very few 2/1 projects I've still got. And that lives in my project folder I made. Spring Moon was another one from Spring Go. And I've started at the top of the basket. So I've sort of started coming across here. I went down the stem of this leaf and just jumped around a little bit. I really enjoy stitching it when I'm stitching it. So that's 1/1 on 36 count light mocha Edinburgh linen. So I'm discovering that a lot of your joy in a project is the fabric. We'll talk about that a bit later, and that's just in a Ziploc bag, nothing exciting there. And then we get a bit muddly because things double up on different things. Just trying to work out where I was going with this. What did I do with that other project? Oh, I've left it behind. All right, we'll go to cells because everything overlaps. So, Museum at Midnight by Lola Crow. So this is your top here, and I'm working my way down. This is the bottom, so I can. The first releases that come out at the end of this week are going to be in these arches, so I need to work some more in there. But there's a reason why I haven't done a lot of that, and I'll come to that in a minute. So that's on 20 count Atomic Ranch London Fog 20 count Aida, which is very nice to work on. Then we have Snails Hollow by the Stitch Crypt. And this is nearly up to date. The next part will probably come out tomorrow night, my time. This was the last part. I haven't quite finished filling in that because I went back here to try and finish. This was the previous part, so it's got another mushroom in here. And there's bits of this border that still aren't done because I made a mistake somewhere, and I thought I'll just go back and fix that as the parts come out, so it's to work out, probably to fudge it, but anyway, it's going okay. So that's nearly up to date. But then we had 2 weeks to do that one, which was very helpful, even though I'm still not quite there. Might go back to that later today, maybe. And then I'm doing the Tiny Modernist garden party cell with my friend Jenny, and this is so cute, and this is all a bit over the shop as well. So there's a lovely goose in here, but I got behind that week. But then I started the last week's one, and this is a cute frog up here sitting on a giant mushroom. That's this week's one. So Jenny and I were at KoKo's yesterday stitching, and we were both working on our frog, even though we're both behind in all the other bits. But that'll be fun too. That's fun. So it'll be nice to, when I get back to finishing that. But for the moment, I think some of this border comes down here, I think, I'm not sure. It's one of these, see, some of the borders are not squares. I think this is an L shape too. So I'll make sure I have all that border in at least before next Tuesday. The parts seem to come out at different times. Sometimes they come out midday Tuesday my time, and I kept looking this week, and it didn't come out till 7:30 in the evening. So, but I got an email from her with a whole lot of new releases as well. So maybe she just was trying to get a lot of stuff out at one time. So that's the cells. So from there we go to the magazine monthly challenge cross stitch group, which is a bit of a mouthful. And we've got two things happening this month. We've got the normal June acrostic with a theme, and then we've got June bug. So, right, I'm just working out what on top of my pile. Right, we're going to start with this. So the theme is obviously a bit French. So because the theme's a croissant and the acrostic's France. So this is what has taken up a lot of my time, which is also a new start. But my daughter is getting married on the 4th of July, so Independence Day for you guys. Though she'll probably be married by the time you start your Independence Day, because we're a day ahead. But I'm making her a ring pillow. And I found this on Modernxstitch, and all my projects are linked below, so you can find details. And I pulled a few patterns from Etsy, and this is the one they decided on. So obviously their names have got to go in here. The date of the wedding goes where these dots sort of indicate where to start. So last week at KoKo's I bought some fabric for it, and I bought some 32 count Murano antique white, which is absolutely gorgeous to stitch on. And I started up at the top because I like to start at the top, but I worked my way down to the roses because I figure I don't want to get all this done and then got all these roses. I thought, let's get this big bulky bit done. And honestly, I've had a hard time putting it down, which is why all those other things are a little bit lacking. So I've completed the roses, I've completed all this, and now I've just got these bits to do. And it's nice to have a deadline piece that you can't put down for the piece itself. So here we go. So I'm stitching it 1/2 because I find the Murano is actually quite tight, and that's what I like to stitch. So it's coming along really well. So that'll be finished this week, and then I'll have to turn it into a ring pillow. So I'll tell you something out about that fabric in a minute too, because I've been really enjoying it. So, and that is croissant, because a croissant is a crescent shape, and you can see on here, this is the same shape as a croissant, crescent shape. So that's why that is the theme. I was going to do something else, and then I thought, oh, no, this will work. So that's for that one. And then we get to France. So the first F is for the Museum at Midnight cell, and my goal for that is to complete the lower set of arches. The next one is R for Romance, and I'll come back to that one because that will be in something else. Then we've got A for Barbara Anna, because I'd really like to finish this Spring Girl, which was a stitch along, I can't remember when that was. There were 4 parts to it. and a bit like the owl she's doing now, she'll release one part at a time, and you just have to buy the parts you want. I'm really enjoying this when I pull it out, and I've just got to finish this bit here. I haven't got a photo of that because it was a sell. You can find it now on her Instagram coffee shop, and it'll be linked below. So I'd really like to finish that because I've just got all the threads thrown in the bag, and they can all go back in my DMC stash. Sorry, everything's falling off. So that's A for Anna. Then we've got N. So F-R-A-N is with needle and thread, which is this gorgeous thing. And Denise has got an order of weeks in, so we've now got the right red. I had a substitute red, which I would have used, but since she's got the right red, we're going to do that. So I've gone right across the top, and I don't know how much of this has been done since I last showed. 2 weeks, guys, 2 weeks since my last one. I'm doing pretty good. Yes, my goal is to finish this side. So down here, that's my goal for minimum on my monthly challenge one. So that is lovely, and that lives in this Sacre Bleu French General bag I made. And while I've got this out, because I forgot to pull it out before, where's she gone? Here, Dot the Bird's in here as well, and I have worked on her since I last saw you. So Kathy Barrack's Dot the Bird, and with this one, got the label caught up. I've gone right across the top, and now I'm working down. There's houses under this side, so I've got the complete, well, across the top and down the side anyway. So I know the dimensions of it. Love this fabric as well. I'm going to have a little bit left here for doing something with that. This is Stitch Me Sugar Cream Pie 36 count linen, and I am using all the MPI silks except the pale blue, because that was out of stock. So I'll just go on to the next blue up, but it's not really going to make a big difference. So I love that one as well. So while we're here, we'll just put, for some, I think because I started this one and Dot the Bird at the same time, they've just ended up in the same project bag, and they're just favourites, and it's a favourite bag, so they're all in there together. Goose has obviously gone upstairs because everything's gone quiet. C then becomes Lola Crow for Museum at Midnight, and that goal is to complete part 1. So F for the frame and C to complete part 1, which needs to be completed, obviously. And then E, I'll often use an E for every stitch is blue. When I was doing my Death by Cross Stitch, I used to use E a lot for every stitch is green. Well, I didn't have this picture last time, but here it is now. Icon Trees, it's their latest release. Every stitch is blue. And my goal for this is to finish that bit there and this first tree, which is very doable. And I've gone right across the top, so that's the width of it. So again, leftovers for something else. I like leftovers for something else. So let's see, where have we got to on the tree? Down to about here. See that one there. So look, that's probably one evening's work to finish that tree and the side of this. But I've learned not to make too big a goals because I don't finish them. So I decided to make little goals, and particularly because I've got those cells. And then tucked in the other corner of this is, I don't know which way it goes. That's the first of Barbara Anna's owls I really wanted to do on here, so that'll get done as well. When I finish the Spring Girl, I'll work on this one as well. And this is all done on Colour Cascade Fabrics 36 count Edinburgh linen ice baby, which is really very icy, just in a regular bag, but using Silks4U, and I've be careful when I pull this out because I've got half a hank in there still, and I've just put them on this lovely Seju thread organizer I was given by a friend. So all that goes in there. Okay, so that becomes Magazine Monthly Challenge France. F for the frame, R for Romance, which I'll show you in a tick, A for Barbara Anna, N for With Needle and Thread, C for Lola Crow, and E for Every Stitch is Blue. Then they've got a pop-up challenge which starts this weekend, I think. It goes for a week, called June Bug. And you're supposed to pull out a project that you've sort of lost your stitchy bug on. There's various ways of talking about the bug thing. And it's supposed to help you finish a project that you haven't finished or been lying around for a long time. So I've got this one. And this did come out in 2008 in Cross Stitcher magazine, June 2008 issue. And I've been doing this for various weddings that have come and gone. And I don't know, doing that ring pillow for my daughter, I don't think this is really her thing either, but I just want to finish it because it's a fun piece and there's a reasonable amount of it done. I think there's still backstitch to go in the little mice. I think what puts me off this is the blended threads and the confetti. You've got this is on a clipboard with the whole magazine and everything. It's all these are not just blended threads, but it's also confetti, so it's hard going. But I'm nearly done. So come down here trying to finish it. There's a little bit more on this side, and then at the bottom of her. Yeah, so I've come around here. I've just got this to do. I think I've started the mouse's ear by the look of it. I don't know what that is. Is that the mouse's ear? No. What is that? Oh, it's the cheeks. Yeah. So it's very doable. So the plan is to stitch 500 stitches on that in the week, next week. I think it starts the 7th of June, which is Sunday. And you've got a week to put 500 stitches. So I'm just looking here what 500 stitches looks like. I could possibly just make it my goal to do all this stuff. But whether I'll get down here, all this, there's probably 500 stitches left in there. But I'll probably need to do a bit of white to keep my landmarks as I go around. So stay posted. I'd really like to get that one finished. And then I think the threads are, I just pull the threads from my master set when I'm working on this one. But because I've got the magazine and the clipboard and this, that'd be really nice to get out of my whip tubs. So that's the June Bug, and that's also the R for the Romance one in the Acrostic to complete that. So if I follow my plan here, I should have 3 finishes in the month of June. Was I saying May? June. We'll see how we go. So I think that then brings me to things I wish to start. Yes, because there's a few of those. let's go with this one first. So I've seen a few people stitching Primrose Cottage, and I haven't stitched any of her things. And a lady at stitching, Linda, she's working on the B one, and it's her very first cross stitch project, and she started in the middle and she's almost down here, and she's having a ball with it. And she was coming along, she was doing a lot of embroidery, and then she decided we're all cross stitching, so she started this one, and then she's got 2 whips, so she's also started the Free Create from Teresa Kogut, and she's got 2 other patterns as well, so she's building a cross stitch stash. Anyway, I just thought it might be fun to do one, and Denise had this in the shop, so I thought, yeah, I'll get that. And then I decided to buy another piece of the 32 count antique white Zweigart Murano to do it on, because I'm really enjoying doing the wedding wreath on this fabric, and I'll do it 1/2, even though it's 32. I like it. But I think we were discussing it yesterday, and because the yellow doesn't stand out, and to me this is a lot of primary colours, I didn't really want it so primary, and someone suggested, Denise suggested that you swap the yellow for purple, and I really like that idea. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. And then I also need a exchange gift, and I'm thinking, because the way she has the book, each page has a chart and a little pillow made out of that part, and then you put them all together. But this one I thought would be just, there are never too many whips. I thought would be a good one for a exchange gift, and I will do that though in more muted tones rather than the bright ones. So I'll have fun choosing threads for that one, and just making it a bit more muted for the purpose of the exchange. So that's that one. And this morning I was on Facebook. Went for a walk, and I've got when I was waiting for my coffee, I was just flipping up, and there were some suggestions for groups to join. So I've joined I've put an application in to join the Primrose Cottage group, and then there was one for this, which I bought a while back because I really would like to stitch this. It's huge. I know it's huge. I've had it for a while. I've even got Fabric Cascade House Fabric 36 cup of coffee, which I think I bought from Denise, I'd say, at KoKo, and that will go on there. So I've got the fabric, and even in here I've got 2 threads, because I've got Weeks Dye Works Pecan, and I don't know what the other one is. Might be Bark. So obviously I'll have to have a look, and it's this has got a combination of Weeks Dye Works, the CC ones, you know the ones I mean, not Colour Cascade, that's the fabric dye, and some DMC. And I usually like to start at the top. Yep, so I'll probably I'll either start left and work across, or start the middle and work across. Anyway, that I would also like to start that. And then the other one that I would also like to start, which I've been talking about, I think, is because I finished, if you remember, I finished this, His Eyes on the Sparrow from Heartstring Sampling, just like a quarter of the size of it, and I thought, that's it, I'm not going to get the new one. I might have said this last week, I can't remember, but I did buy the new one. And then I had left over from the 101 ABCs, I cut that down as well and made it into a smaller project bag with just A and B basically. So because that was huge, I had this huge piece of this 36 count linen. I don't know what linen it is. I bought it ages ago from Soed in Australia, and I was going to do it on this, but then some of the others are doing it on darker fabric, and I thought, oh, I don't know that I want to do it on the white, though I quite like the fabric. So I cut the piece and I dyed it. But now, can you see it's very loosey-goosey, and I think it's more loosey-goosey than it was to start with. Anyway, I was messing around, that's what this little bit here was, starting the border 2 weeks ago, I think, at KoKo's. Was it? No, it might have been last week actually. And when I came home, no, before I came home, while we were there, we were having a discussion, and we decided this is not a good fabric to do that huge project on. So that got ditched. It's interesting though, the way the dye changed the fabric, just tea dyeing. So instead I bought 36 count vintage country mocha to do it on, and I'm much happier with that. It's so even though they're both 36, you can see how this is tighter. It's not all loose, and I was just having trouble finding my stitches to start with. So that is the other thing I wish to start. So we will see what happens when I finish the ring pillow. Yeah, this is obviously the priority. Yep. So I'm sort of, couldn't put it down all last week, and then I've sort of slowed down a little bit, and I think what I'm going to do is do just little bits of it this week. So I want to finish off this, and then come here and then do that bit, maybe these other bits. So yeah, in bits, we'll see. So many lovely things to stitch. So that's it, and I've managed to get another Flosstube in just over 2 weeks. So let's see how we go. I've just been really enjoying watching different people's Flosstubes and their catch-ups, and as I'm watching, I'm thinking, yeah, I should do another one and tell you about all these things I'm working on and how they're going. So have a wonderful day, stitch away, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.